I used to spend $5,000 to $6,000 a month on Reebok shoes. Right. Bingo, you got there into America. As I was looking out at the ocean this morning, a girl went by. What? Just went by? Yeah, it's just like that. I had to jump up and run like hell to find out what happened.
With over 40 years of international experience managing some of the world's most prestigious hotels, from the Bahamas to the heart of Disneyland's hospitality scene, and now the beaches of Maui, John Brunold is a true industry veteran. He's helmed properties like the Royal Lahaina Resort and the Royal Kona Resort in Hawaii, overseeing operations at luxury destinations across the US and internationally. Today, he manages KBM Resorts in Maui, continuing his legacy of excellence. John's expertise in hospitality management is unmatched, and he's here to share the secrets behind world-class service and what it takes to turn any hotel into a thriving success. When you go into a reception, how do you like to be greeted? And what does it say about the hotel?
Well, the first thing, you must be sure that the staff are smiling and greeting you. That smiling is the biggest plus in any hotel. And greet you. If they know your name, mention it, but most times they don't. But you can feel by the warmth of the reception, this is going to be a great place.
Yes, yes.
You can feel by that.
And what's the first thing you notice?
Well, the first thing I really notice is the cleanliness of it, right?
Yeah.
Where everything's shining and in order. Especially lobbies. Lobbies are so important. That's the face of the hotel.
Right.
And it's important they are perfectly manicured and with beautiful flowers and all the rest of it. But for resort hotels, it has to be a gorgeous entrance.
So you went from studying, and then you're in the Bahamas, and you're managing a 1,200-room hotel.
It was a 1,200-room casino hotel. The casino wasn't in the building. The casino was across the street in a shopping center, which they owned too. And then when they got bigger, they added another 450-room property opposite our hotel, and that was part of my job to run that too. Then I was there, the manager, but that was only open from Friday night to Monday morning. 450-room hotel just for the casino crowds, right?
Right.
Casino planes. And then I go back to the other hotel.
What's it like managing with a casino?
Exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Everybody walks around overdressed. Those days they did, anyhow.
Right.
If you try to get in the casino, you had to have a jacket. Then they would supply with a nice maroon one.
Yeah.
So we knew who you were, right?
Right.
And the ladies, it was mainly a Jewish clientele from New York, Syracuse, New York, Brooklyn, and all those places. And ladies were loaded with jewelry.
Right. This is in the Bahamas.
Bahamas.
Yeah. So the clientele was coming from the mainland.
Main New York, actually. New York area. Loaded with jewelry and money. And they were all golfers. It was a golf resort. It had 2 golf courses we had. Beautiful golf courses. Beautiful. Just like pool tables, the grass was. Although the island was pretty ragged. Ragged.
Golf resort.
Wow. Beautiful golf resort, beach resort, big pools, and it was great.
What's it like when your work atmosphere is basically a holiday environment? Does it feel like,
Yes, it does. You have to be looking happy because they're happy to be there.
Right.
So you have to be the same way as they are.
You have to be the same way.
Same way. And it's fun. It's a fun place. People are in great moods when they come to a holiday, especially a resort on the ocean and with golf courses, especially the guys, the golf courses. But it's great. It was great.
Because you're a big man. Americans would have liked, you're American now, I understand, but initially they would have liked your size, your Clint Eastwood tall size.
And 6'2" I was actually. I'm now a little shorter, but 6'2". And a lot of my Jewish ladies used to love my accent, which...
Did they?
Yeah, I didn't see it, because I didn't notice it. But they would offer me jobs in their jeweler shops in New York.
Right, right.
Always doing that.
So tell me, how did you get from the Bahamas to mainland? I mean, Los Angeles is like the promised land of the hotel, the vacation deal. How did you get there?
Well, first thing, when I went to the Bahamas, I had to apply for a United States visa, immigration visa, right? The first 4 years, they gave me the run around and said, no, we have plenty of guys like you now in the States. And then, right, so I didn't
Wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy, but I wasn't suffering. Right? It was a beautiful resort.
Oh, so that didn't happen straight away easily for you?
No. 4 years I waited for that.
Did you?
And then I met my wife from Australia.
Okay,
right?
okay.
Married her there very quick after she got there. And
Right.
And then when I
Did that make things easier?
I went to the immigration guy and I said, guess what, I'm married. He said, oh, congratulations, John. What's she like? The perfect wife.
Yeah.
And he said, well, where's she from? Australia. Oh, what does she do? She's a nurse. Right. Bingo, you got there into America.
Is that
just what he said?
Is that right? It makes
exactly
it easier.
Said that. Bingo.
Because of the nursing.
The nursing.
Okay.
Your wife it was during the Vietnam War. So they were desperate for nurses.
Okay.
So I got in. But I didn't rush to America. I got in and rushed there, got my sign in, and went back to the Bahamas. And 2 years later, I then set sail for Miami Beach.
Wow. Right, so Miami was the first
stop.
Yeah.
And I've been to Miami many, many times, and I liked Miami. I still like Miami.
Yeah. What do you like about Miami?
Miami's modern, very modern, very clean city. You don't see hobos and bums around there. They take care of them.
Yeah.
One of the few states that take care of them.
Right. So, John, in your time, is there a hotel that you correct me if I'm wrong, but you would come into a hotel that was going mediocre, and then you would come in to turn those profits around? Is that
no? Not at that time. Not at that time. Look, when I went to Miami, when I eventually went to Miami, I got a job in Miami in a funny little holiday inn on North Bay Village, on a little island there, right? It was a cute place. But I liked Miami because of its variety of Spanish, there's mainly Cubans.
Right.
Mainly Cubans.
And why is that?
Because about 1.5 million of them, when Fidel got into power, fled.
Oh, when Fidel came in. Okay.
Right.
So it shapes the whole...
So, and they always used to say, the Cubans built Miami.
Do they?
But the Colombians paid for it. Because the Colombians, the drug trade, paid for it.
Is that right?
And then beautiful buildings. Beautiful buildings. The settings are great. Miami is also, when I was working in the Bahamas, I went to the second Super Bowl ever. Right? And I sat there and I didn't understand a bit of the game, but I liked the more halftime show and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And of course I like hot dogs and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it was a great match, perfect match for you.
For me, it was just a great game to look at. We chartered a plane, went over to Miami, and there's 10 of us actually. And we got good seats because the boys on our casino had the means of paying for them.
Yeah.
So 10 of the hotel managers, staff, including me, went.
Right.
Great game.
Right. Knowing what you know now, going back to your management experiences, what would you have done anything differently?
No. I didn't know anything different.
Okay.
And I did, everything went perfect.
Yeah, that's good. So, John, was there a big lesson, a big lesson you learned early that you took with you right through your management?
Well, at the casino hotel, I had a great education in England in a traditional hotel. I worked in a 5-star Connaught Hotel, London, and I learned all the goodies of a really deluxe place. It was only 150 room, had marvelous service and marvelous everything.
Yep.
I worked in the kitchens,
right.
Worked in the dining room, I worked in the bar and the front desk. And then when I came to America, and I worked in the Royal Kona Resort.
Right.
They had a hotel, the Princess Hotel in Bermuda, right? I was there only a year. And they said, John, we got good news and bad news. I said, well, what's the good news? No, but tell me the bad news. You're leaving us. I am? Yes. And we have a sister hotel in Bermuda, and I went there for a year.
Okay.
Beautiful Princess Hotel, on the water, and it was a honeymoon paradise, actually.
Wow.
And I went there in June, July, and it was just honeymoon time, right? 600 room honeymooners. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
600 room honeymooners.
So that would have a different feel to it.
Oh,
yeah.
totally different feel.
Yeah.
Love, love, love.
Yeah. so just what did you learn that you took with you?
Well, you know,
and it remained with you, and it's still.
The thing is, when I came to the one in Kings in the Gulf, and Bermuda, I learned how important it is to always be positive.
Right.
Positive. Never come. Just don't have a negative.
Always be positive.
Positive.
Right.
And watch out for the guests. Comfort.
Right.
Anything they wanted was yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes.
And what would happen if negativity?
You never were. I was never negative.
Yeah, you're just not allowed. You're not allowed to be.
It was not a thing. Nothing.
Yeah,
you know,
they're on holiday.
They're on holiday, and they only want to hear good things.
Yes.
So, and they only want to hear good advice too. Good advice is very important too. It's very important to know the local conditions and the town you're in, so you can give them accurate information. You have to be very accurate. Then you have to judge by the clientele. If these people are pretty wealthy, you don't send them to an average restaurant. You send them to the gourmet restaurants.
Right.
It's very important you don't make that mistake.
And at one stage, you were a buyer. You were doing some buying.
Yes, I was.
So you were buying in
Miami.
In Miami.
Miami. I used to be a buyer. I had 3 secretaries to help me.
So that's a world in itself, right?
Total another world, yeah. And it's very competitive. Very competitive. You can't buy based on price only.
Right.
We were on to quality first, then price.
Is that right?
Very much so. They don't do it nowadays. But those days, no. Yeah. But then they could, and we could afford it. Bahamas is a tax-free place, so they didn't pay taxes on the income they made too. So they made a lot of cash, So I go to Miami.
Is that to attract investment? Is that
it was then a very attractive investment.
But did they make it tax-free to attract investors? Is that what they did?
Yes. No. That was mainly for us employees.
Mainly for the employees.
But
that attracted you there.
Yeah, honey to a bee to honey.
Right.
And but for the guest it was good too, because he got good value for his golf.
Right.
There wasn't a tax thrown in. There's no taxes on anything. No tax on anything. So that it was a great golf resort. We used to have 300 golf carts in my place. That was hard to maintain, actually. And we had our own laundry. We had everything self-contained. And police force, fire department, and everything in the hotel, because there was no services on the island. It was a pretty naked island.
Right.
But it was a beautiful island.
You mentioned that you thought you were getting fired.
Once.
Tell me about that.
So that was a very dramatic episode in my life there. All of a sudden, the owner who was...
Are we in the Bahamas here?
Yeah, we're in the Bahamas. All of a sudden, in the Bahamas, the owner who was in New York, D.K. Daniel Ludwig, who owned the Universal Tanker Company, he was the first man to build giant tankers. 85,000 ton oil tankers, right? And he was sick of the hotel. He said, there's a pain in the butt, which it is, always. And it takes a lot of dedication to run my hotel. And he then gave it to the mob.
Right.
But it wasn't the Italian mob, the Jewish mob, right? Which I thought, that's strange, I've never heard of that. And all the Sam Cohens and the boys, right? And they took it over. They knew their business. They had 6 big sister hotels in Miami.
Right.
Fontainebleau, the Eden Rock, and then a whole lot of other hotels there. Right. So they knew the business, right? So they came in, right? So I had when they first came in, we had a meeting. And I sat in this meeting, and Sam Cohen says to me, John, come over here. Because I'd met him at many of the places I bought at.
Right.
And sit next to me. And I thought, gee, that's nice. And then he started to introduce himself to all the 40 other department heads of that. And then he asked them, each one of them, what did you not like about this hotel that you're working at now? And who did you not like? And about 6 of them didn't like me very well.
Okay.
Put it mildly.
Right.
In fact, they even accused me of being on the take. being a purchasing agent, you're always supposed to be on the take.
Right.
Always supposed to be. It's
On behalf of the hotel, right?
Yeah, no, that was me. But a lot of purchasing agents in our industry were on the take, or are still on the take.
Right.
But when they accused me of that, he fired them, told them I only bought from their company, so I didn't know that. And, right? So, and he said, John, I'm not promoting. You tell me what you want to do. What? Any job I want? Yes, any job you want. And I said, I'd like to be the night manager in the hotel from 3 in the afternoon to 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
6 days a week, it had to be those days.
Right.
And I'd like you to clothe me. All my tuxedos.
Right.
You know, in a casino hotel, you're constantly changing tuxedos, shirts, ties, bow ties, shoes, and stuff like that. And they did. They were a great company to work for. And the boss was Meyer Lansky, was the president of the corporation, right? Very well. He only came over once a week, but I had to pick him up at the airport. And everybody was frightened of him because he had a reputation. But it didn't bother me. And when they told me he was the mob boss, I thought, he must be a black fellow. But he wasn't.
Right.
So he was very generous to me, especially when I got married.
Yeah, okay.
Very generous. Then I went to the USA, right? Yeah. Then my first job was arranged for me at the Fairmont Hotel, a gold, absolute gem.
Right.
Top of the hill, Knob Hill, a gem.
Right.
And I got a nice fancy job there, fancy pants and a fancy shirt and tie, bow ties and all that stuff.
And you're loving this job. So it seems like it's a lot of responsibility. Is it a job that you can leave at the end of the day and not take home with you, or it comes home with you?
No, you could. Those hotels are so well organized and everything's covered.
So when you
go home, you don't have to even think about it.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Now tell me something. If I'm someone staying in a hotel, you're saying you should actually stick to a brand. Why is that?
Well, the brand usually has great assets, right? Mm-hmm. If you have a very bad experience in a hotel and you want a refund, right? They will be more than happy to give it to you. The reputation means a lot to them.
The reputation.
If you stay in another smaller hotel, an unknown brand, you never get it.
Right. So that's a good reason. That's a good reason.
People don't realise that. That's why when I travel, my next job after the Fairmont, and I went to Sydney. I came to Sydney, and I stayed in Australia 2 years. I worked at the Hyatt up at the Cross. Right. That was a swinging hotel, actually.
Is it? Was it? Yeah.
All sorts of swinging ladies around it, mind you, but it was a swinging hotel, actually. That was a nice hotel. Very well organized. Hyatts run good hotels always. Cleanliness, staff training, everything's correct.
What did you learn at that one? You think?
I learned at that one. I liked the Aussie attitude things. Aussies were very friendly to people.
Yeah.
Friendlier than maybe US citizens were, and it was nice. And I kind of liked the food in Australia.
Right.
You know
the food.
Yeah, I like the food you have there.
Fresh food. Yeah.
Fresh food and all this stuff. But then they didn't pay me enough in Sydney.
Right.
So I stayed with my mother-in-law for about a year. And I thought, I got to get out of there. I got to do something. And a gentleman checked in the hotel in Sydney. And I said, well, where are you from? He says, I'm on the Gold Coast. Gold Coast? Yeah. He says, I run 6 hotels there. You do? And
okay.
And I said, well, I'm looking for a change. Oh, John, you are?
Yes.
There's my phone, my card. See you. When can you make it? You tell me. Right. He said, well, can you make it end of next week? You're off then? I said, I can. I'll drive up.
Wow.
At that time, I just bought a new VW in Sydney. And I went up.
Wow.
On the back road, not the front road. So I went to, and they got the Iluka Hotel. I loved the Iluka Hotel. Right on the beach. Right in the centre of town. All the fancy ticket girls in the parking lots there, how they're dressed. And it was fabulous time. At one time there, Bob Hawke came up there,
Right.
And Whitlam was at that time Prime Minister, I think. Yeah, Whitlam. He stayed at the hotel too. They didn't have meetings there. They went to a meeting centre. for meetings, but
Right.
they came back at night and drank up a storm in the bar, and that, right? But it was nice. I really enjoyed the atmosphere of it, right? But I wasn't earning enough money, right?
Yeah, okay. Sounds like money was the move.
Money, yeah, sure.
Sure.
So after a year there, I thought, Joe, we can't live on the peanuts I'm earning. You know? I'm tired of eating peanuts. So I thought, and then I heard a Holiday Inn is opening up in North Sydney. What?
Oh, okay.
Right? Shot down to see it, right? And I had an interview with those guys, and they pretty well told me to get lost. I said, but I've been in the States. What are you talking about? Get lost.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they told me. But I got even later on, years later.
Why do you think that? Oh, okay. So
I don't know. They just thought I was a smart.
She didn't gel.
Yeah, they didn't. We didn't gel.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I'm now in Sydney, I might as well look around. So at the big building you had there, I went to Land Lease Corporation, and they had Thredbo Alpine Hotel.
Right.
And they were looking for a manager, day manager, assistant manager there, senior assistant manager to the general manager, who was Harold Droga at the time, right?
Yep.
And I got the job. I said, a ski resort. I said, you got snow here in Australia? And that was my first question there. You flying up this afternoon to see us, right?
Right.
So he flew me up to Thredbo, beautiful country there. Right?
Yeah,
Oh my God, it was great. I thought, wow, this is Switzerland. And I got a chalet to live in and everything like that. My wife loved to move from the beach to the ski resort, right? So I stayed there for a season, right? In the Thredbo.
Talk to me around Disneyland, right?
Yeah.
There's how many hotels around Disneyland?
Oh, about 60.
Yeah, and how many of them are there to service Disneyland?
They all service Disneyland.
They all.
Everyone is there. Every major chain in the United States has a property there.
So how do you compete? How do you compete? Like, what are some of the challenges of managing a hotel in Los Angeles when that's the situation? Do you have to just wait for your share, or
No, you don't. No. When I came back to the States, I worked for a company out of Kansas, Topeka, Kansas. And they had 100 Holiday Inns in the United States, right? And I thought, I'd like to go to work in Los Angeles in their Holiday Inn at Disneyland. Because that was the year of the Olympics in Disneyland.
Oh, 84.
I wanted to see the Olympics. I dreamt about it, watched it on TV, but I wanted to be there. And I got the job. About 3 months before the Olympics, right? They transferred me there I was transferred from Oklahoma City.
Right.
Boy, that's a city to be in. And I did buy my first pair of jeans in Oklahoma City. So did Jill. And I got a big, nice cowboy hat given to me by the Highway Patrol, because they all wore cowboy hats there, right?
Right.
And of course, I bought them many breakfasts at the Holiday Inn I managed in Oklahoma City.
Right.
So they owed me. But it was breakfast.
Now, marketing's pretty important, John. Did you have any tricks? Like, did you do a special promos?
No, you got to remember, when you're part of a chain like Holiday Inn,
right,
they had the best reservation system in the United States at that time.
Right.
They had the best. They were the peak of the hotel.
So this is pre-internet. So what was happening? How did they?
They called the holodeck system. You could go down to the desk and I say, I want to go to another Holiday Inn. I'm now in Los Angeles. I'd like the one in Denver. Yes, sir. Just sit down there. You got 6 to pick from. Right. And you're right there, you make your own reservation.
Right.
They had a little booth, you made your own reservation in Denver or wherever else you were going, Vegas or everything like that, right? So that brought about 70% of our business.
Right.
Then we had to, as GMs, we had to then go on sales trips I flew to Australia twice.
Right.
To sell a Holiday Inn Anaheim.
Did you?
Yeah. And I was trying to think, how can I get these damn Aussies to come to me instead of go to shit?
Yeah, how did you do that?
I said to them, stay with me, and stay with me for 6 nights, I think it was. And I'd buy a pair of Reebok shoes.
Yeah.
You and your missus.
Right.
Right?
And that were a big deal.
Bingo!
Yeah.
I used to spend $5,000 to $6,000 a month on Reebok shoes.
Wow.
And I got them at a dirt cheap rate, right? From an Indian shop I used to know a guy.
Right.
And packed. I used to have 30, 40 rooms of Aussies every night.
Wow.
I only had 290 rooms, right? So it was a big chunk of our change, right? And then, of course, the holiday business. And then I went to Canada, too, on sales trips.
Sales trips, right.
With the Anaheim Convention Bureau. Usually they had 10 hotels go. They had deluxe, super deluxe, and then an ordinary. I was ordinary.
Right.
Holiday Inn, right?
Right.
And of course, the Canadians, they're not exactly the ones that want to spend a lot of money in any hotel. So the ordinary hotel got the big chunk of the change, right?
Right.
So we got a lot of Canucks. Canadians.
Right. Now, tell me, you had a hotel management car, and you would often leave that at the hotel.
Always.
Why would you do that?
Well, there was always a chance at night some guests had to be run to the hospital, and you always had to make it the night order know that my car's available to take a guest for any emergency.
So it's got to be nice. It's got to look nice. It's got to be practical.
It had to be beautiful,
with the luggage in the back.
Everything, big station wagon.
Right.
Always look there.
So, John, the decor. So, tell me, what do you think? Does refurbishing a hotel does that translate to bookings?
Yes.
And how quickly do you notice that?
Firstly, when some of the hotels I went into, the Holiday Inns, they were really shaggy and run down.
Right.
And because they had such volume, such traffic, it wore them down. And I forced them to refurbish. And we had design teams, Holiday Inn, a great design team, so they upgrade the hotel. The entrance, especially the entrance.
Right.
Entrance, not necessarily the rooms all the time, but the entrance.
Right. Why is that? It's first impression?
It's a first impression. You need to come in and say, wow, this is a smart looking place, right? Clean and smart.
Right.
That's the main thing.
Right.
And all the staff were beautifully clothed, beautiful uniforms, cleanliness is such a big thing in a hotel. Cleanliness is the most important thing.
So a negative reaction coming into a reception from the personnel.
Yeah.
So they're negative. They're not positive. They're not dressed well, and they're treating you like you're almost like a nuisance. Is that what you're saying?
That was another idiot. No, I got rid of those very quick.
Yeah.
First thing you do is change out the staff.
Is that? Oh.
Yeah. It's sometimes
because you can't change their behaviour.
Is that
right? Right.
It's impossible to change a group.
And so, would you hire on people being positive? Would you?
Positive. When you interview them, I interviewed most of the hires, and if I felt happy about them, they got the job.
Yeah, if you felt happy
even if they were airhead, they got the job.
What do you think? Do you think service levels today are worse or better?
Some hotels say good and better.
Yep.
The deluxe hotels pay a lot of attention to service levels.
Right.
Any deluxe hotel you go to, they've done a lot of training and testing of their staff.
Right.
And they're positive, all positive. And they know, they've got all the local knowledge you need to know, they need to know. And
yes.
They're very helpful to you. Gets a little tougher in the more smaller hotels like Holiday Inns and Ramada Inns and stuff like that to get that type of level of staff, because you can't pay them as much, because in the better hotels you get a good revenue. Your revenue is gigantic.
John, what's the secret if you've got someone you don't want to give them? You want to have a couple of cards up your sleeve. Is that right? With rooms?
Yes, actually, when I was at the Holiday Inn in Anaheim, I said to them, guys, we got, I think it was 420 rooms. I don't want to see an empty room in the morning. What? None.
Yeah.
Right?
What's this?
And I said, for every room, I'll give you $25 a night. If you sell a room off the street, $25 a night for their stay.
Right.
Full every night.
Really?
Yeah, because then the desk clerks at my Holiday Inn would call other places and say, you short of rooms tonight? I got rooms.
Wow.
Always full.
And what about if you've got someone, you want to be able to make them feel good, right? If they have a complaint, you want to be able to move them somewhere. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I'm a master at that.
So what would you do? How would you do that?
When I was at the Royal Lahaina, which they sometimes had a problem with in the Maui, they said the room's a little run down, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I couldn't argue with them because they were. And because the owner was too cheap to upgrade them. I'd say, Mom, I'll buy you and your family tonight a luau, right?
Yeah.
You only have 6 kids, a luau. And if another guy came in at 10 in the morning, he said, I want to go to the room now. I said, if you're prepared to wait, I'll give you as many drinks as you like, any cocktail you like of your choice. Never limit the cocktail. Always of your choice.
Right. Oh, you can't have this one and this one.
No. Or any cocktail. Because we didn't pay much for liquor.
Never limit. Never
hotels make a big profit on liquor.
Yeah, so do they?
That used to be a good selling thing too.
And with the kitchen, John, you're saying that what's the trick with the food and quality of food?
Well, on vacations, we had good restaurants. We usually had 2 restaurants. You had to have a restaurant that was economical for the families.
Right.
You had to have that. And you had to have a more upscale restaurant. And that was very important too.
Oh, you have 2 different levels.
Yes, 2 different levels.
Right.
So people eat in the economic restaurant. That's like eating at home, and then when they eat in the upscale one, that's like eating out.
Right. Yeah, I see. Yeah, the special night. So that might be the Saturday night or something like that.
It's very important.
What's the number one mistake most new hotel managers make that could sink their career? John reveals it later in the show. John, tell me now, what role do you play? You're a supervisor now with KBM Resorts in Maui. Is that right?
Yes. Now we're not a hotel company. We don't own. We manage 200 condominiums, beautiful ones. Some not so beautiful.
Right. And they're owned by other people.
Other people own them. We sell them, we market them and sell them.
Yes.
Right? We do it all, right? And the service is only like once a week maid service, right?
Right.
Unless they request it every day, we do provide that.
Right.
We have some gorgeous apartments that are worth millions of dollars, right?
Yep.
And they usually request maid service 3 times a week, right?
Yep.
And my role there was just because I was over 75 at the time when I started that company with my daughter. And then my younger son joined me, and he took over my position. And I just wanted to have a position where I was just maintain the maintenance department and the housekeeping department and the laundry. We have all our labor is actually imports from Mexico and Guatemala, and El Salvador, places like that. And
right.
You do have a problem with the language problem, but it works. I know a lot of Spanish now. Yeah. Well, I have to, otherwise they don't understand me.
Right.
And it's and I only work now. Once I got to age 75, I decided I only want to work from 9:30 to 1:30 or 2:30.
Yeah.
And I just supervise there.
Yeah.
And I do light because it's.
So, John, you went from the mainland to Maui. How did you just tell me how that happened again?
Well, when I was at age 64,
yep.
I was in Anaheim, right?
Yep.
And I noticed the company was thinking of getting a younger general manager for Anaheim. One with more younger with lots of little young kids.
Right.
I had old grown-up kids that were cheeky buggers. So I thought, that's a writing on the wall.
Right.
Because I'd replaced many GMs in my career in America with GMs that thought they owned the hotel instead of they were managing it.
Yes.
And they were either end up in drunks and all that stuff. But that's another story. But so I decided I better start looking for one. So I had a good.
You better start looking for
another job.
Yeah.
Right? And I said I want to do.
How did that must have been
very difficult to think about.
Yeah.
But having all the experience about you and the confidence I had, I thought I'll get it.
Yes.
I said I want to find an older owner who wants an older guy. He doesn't have to train.
Right.
Bingo! I found one.
And you found one, and he was in. He was
living in Los Angeles. He had the biggest wholesale. He was Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays, the biggest wholesaler to the Bahamas, to Hawaii. 5 charters a day from the mainland.
Right.
One to Big Island, one to Kauai, one to Maui, and 2, I think, to Honolulu. Right.
Yeah.
And the hotel he wanted me to do was in Kona. Big 450 property, almost in the water, solid concrete.
Right.
And I went for an interview with him, and he was more interested in my wife. I mean, not because of anything. He had just come from a very serious operation in the hospital.
Right.
And she knew exactly what's out. Because my wife's been a nurse all her life.
I see.
And she talked to him about this and what he shouldn't do, what he should do. And I was hired by his wife.
Right.
And that was the best job I had ever.
Yeah. Wow.
Best job. And that was in my twilight years. Right? I went to 5 years in the Big Island, beautiful 450.
Oh, that was your best job. Wow.
No, then the next one was the better one, the most best one. Royal Lahaina Resort.
Wow. It kept getting better.
It got better because then it went to a 600-room hotel from a 400-room hotel, right? And the Maui one was 27 acres on the beach.
27 acres
on the beach. So many cottages and all that stuff, right?
Wow.
And I tell you, whatever I did there turned into gold.
Right.
It was so easy to make money there.
Perfect match for you. What was one of the things that you did there to make money?
The first thing I said, let's charge these idiots for parking. They're using our real estate. They're using our real estate. Everybody, you never get away with it. Try me. I mean, the first year we made almost $1 million for parking, right?
Wow.
And we had a beautiful big tennis stadium, it's 11 tennis courts. And we put concerts in the tennis stadium in the summertime only. We had a great luau, and I got a choreographer from Honolulu to upgrade it.
Did you get
good
new ideas and things?
Oh, beautiful choreographer. He knew what to do, how to do it, because I didn't.
Right.
And we made a fortune with our luau, right?
Right.
In summertime, I was greedy. I had 2 shows a night. That nearly drove me nuts, mind you, because we had parking problems then.
Right.
Yeah, because the one show would come out, and the others would come early. Right. So that I didn't calculate.
Right.
So we had a parking problem. I had to park them on the golf course.
Right. So at that resort, John, what's a typical day? What would be a typical day for you?
At the big resort in Maui, at work, 8 o'clock sharp, right?
Yeah.
Breakfast with the 3 top people you need. You need to talk to the chief engineer, the chef, and the housekeeper.
Do you? Yeah.
And the sales manager.
Right.
Every day, without fail. Half an hour, I'd take a half an hour, cover everything that's going to happen in the day, what's going to happen next week, the week after, and all that jazz. And especially with the maintenance man, because on the islands you have maintenance problems.
Right.
Maintenance problems. We had a big maintenance.
What do you mean by that? Yeah.
Well, everything's, it's on the ocean, rusts and stuff like that. We have to constantly replace air conditioners that have gotten rusty, and there's a lot of defects can happen in a building that's on the ocean.
Right.
Lots of defects. Oh,
Interesting.
God. Never ends. And so that was
interesting. What other challenges besides that?
That was the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge was maintenance.
Right.
The biggest challenge. Staffing.
And that's amazing. So the salt and the wind will just
eat up anything. They're not fussy. And,
right. And wear and tear on the furnitures and...
No, that's not as bad as...
Yes.
And I was lucky too. My son went to Adelaide, to hotel school in Adelaide, right?
Right.
So all his cronies came, when they graduated, came over to work for me, and I had to work at that they could work. And they all were fantastic students. Every one of them was fantastic. Everyone, all 12 of them that came. They didn't come together, they came like 4 at a time.
Right.
For a year, sometimes for 2 years.
Right.
One of them stayed, is now manager of a very big hotel in Honolulu. A chain, actually, of 6 hotels.
John, tell me, one day you're walking through the lobby and you see a guest crying. What did you do? What did you do?
That one guest was an Aussie from Australia. Right? He was crying. Barry Grady. And I sat down next to him and said, Barry, what's the problem? He said, you're not going to believe it. I don't believe anything because I thought I heard everything. He said, I came all the way from Australia, and he said, with cash in my pocket, because that was the years when cash was king. All right? He didn't believe in credit cards. And when he tried to get a Hertz car in Anaheim, they said, no, your credit card, sir. No credit card, no car.
Right.
And I said, oh yeah, I know that rule. Come on, Barry, come with me. And I went into the Hertz and said, hi, Joe. I knew the guy very well, and I rented a car, my name, and he was the co-driver, gave him the key. Well, we drove out. I drove out, and then he took off to Vegas and every other place, right? Came back 6 weeks later. I'd forgotten he had the car.
Yeah.
And ever since then, he came to see me every second year from Australia.
Right.
You know how many sheep skins I have? He brought me every year. He brought me a new sheepskin.
Right. Wow.
And he's only just died. He's 84. Smoked like a chimney and drank American whiskey like a pig.
Right.
And lived to 84.
Wow, good on him. Any more other, did you bump into Sinatra or something?
And when I was in the Bahamas...
Was that your biggest celebrity encounter?
Yeah. In the Bahamas, we had Kings Inn and Golf Club. We had a 2,000-seat big ballroom, right?
Wow.
And people on the island, there was nothing much to do, so we had some names. We had the Supremes there, Engelbert Humperdinck, Frankie Sinatra came a couple of times.
Wow.
Sammy Davis Jr. came 5 times a year, and he was great. I like Sammy. Although he's only 2 stones and a brick, he could really sing. And
Right.
It was great. So never, when I married Jill wanted to be in the nightclub most nights with our friends, and front row, right? And I could do that, right? And it was great. I had the Bahamas for me was one of the greatest areas I worked in.
John, you're talking about guest comfort. What's the little trick to the trade there?
Well, the room must be perfect.
Right.
The furnishings must be perfect. The lighting must have every light working.
Right.
Everything. The TV must be a real one, not a one that somewhere I dropped off from the... everything has to be perfect.
And a light globe that's not working, what does that say?
That's a neglect.
Yeah.
Total neglect.
Right.
That was one of my big things. I go around the lobby at night, call the chief engineer every night, the Royal... And actually in the Bahamas, to check the lights, because that's a sign of neglect.
Right.
When lights go out, lights do go out. Right. Now they got good lights that last a long time, but then they didn't have good lights. So you need to check the lights.
Right.
And the rooms. You need to make sure they have enough towels per room for people, not one towel per person.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right. You don't want them coming to you and asking for things.
I had a girl that would answer the call for any problems. And any help they needed, concierge help, anything that helped. Mm-hmm. And then she would then channel the call to the housekeeping.
And just knowing about, not having the knowledge and being able to be responsive, is that right? Responsive, yeah.
I would check what happened, who called last night, or why did they call, and I'd see what they called. Oops, and this one I needed to contact myself, right?
Yeah.
Invited him for cocktails, right? So I invited many people for cocktails, many times. I didn't drink. I had a Coke with 2 cherries on it. And I told that's the bartenders, that's my drink, because you can become a drunk easy in the hotel.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
You need to
you're exposed to alcohol, potentially
food, you can overeat.
Right. So how did you manage that then?
My wife looks like Sophia Loren. Why would I wouldn't look at anybody else?
No. So how did you manage
not to eat
self-discipline for everything, for all sorts of things?
You learn it's best to do that. You learn the trade.
Right.
It's best to stay slim and trim and all the time.
If you're a young manager, you can be led astray there quite easily, right?
Oh, easy.
Have you seen that happen?
I replaced many. When I worked for Holiday Inns, I moved to 20 different Holiday Inns over 17 years.
Right.
Replaced the thing, fixed the place up again, and then moved on to the next.
And do you think that because the manager was off?
The manager, he either was on booze or women or, the usual. And you have to stay focused because the temptations are there.
Wow. Wow.
It's such a satisfying job, actually. It's so satisfying.
Yeah. But it seems like you were built for it, though.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
Every moment of it.
Yeah. Do you see managers and go, why are they managing?
I see that all the time. I say, what's that dickhead doing? Right?
Is that right?
What were the owners thinking when they hired him?
Really? Really?
And it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Does it? Yeah.
You can walk in the hotel and know that's a good manager in this hotel.
What's the story of a really bad experience that you had?
In a hotel?
Don't mention the name, but
No. The worst experience I had was a death in the hotel. Right?
Oh, right.
One time, a guest called me and he said, I'm on the 5th floor. So I said, are you happy there? Not really. So why not? As I was looking out at the ocean this morning, a girl went by. Just went by. Yeah, it's just like that. I had to jump up and run like hell to find out what happened. Fortunately, she landed on the roof of the restaurant, which was a soft roof. In the Bahamas, soft roof, and she was a Japanese girl. Then I had a very bad experience with her mother. Her mother refused to move from the top floor to the bottom floor because I said, she jumps out again the bottom floor, it doesn't matter. Oh, she shouted and screamed at me and I got mad with her. You do that or you leave.
Right.
Now, that's the only time I've ever really got mad because I thought, I'm not going to be responsible if she jumps again and doesn't hit the soft roof. Right. But she was so adamant she didn't want to move. Right. She moved.
What's the biggest change you've seen in your time? Yeah.
Well, the staffing is a problem, you know. The hotel industry is considered a servile industry. So there's a lot of highly educated people they don't want to be associated with, unless they're in upper management. You know, it's a servile industry, and you do have to nurture the staff. That's a big thing. You have to constantly nurture your staff.
That
means you go down and you go down and have lunch with them in the lunchroom, talk to them, talk to them. Every Monday I talk to the housekeeper, to her ladies, and tell them what lovely ladies they were.
Right.
And usually the Filipino ladies are well dressed, and it does they need a boost too.
Right. So with the buying,
you need to walk the hotel constantly. Constantly.
Right.
That's how I kept my weight down. I walked all the floors every day.
Yeah.
You need to do that.
Yeah.
You have to know what's going on.
You have to know what's going on. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. You've got to know what's going on. So would people sometimes maybe not tell you because you're the manager sort of thing? Is that what you mean by that?
No, I find things wrong.
Right, you'll find things wrong.
Lights out, dirty room service trays in hallways, and all that sort of stuff, right?
I see.
And then I have to go down and find out what happened to it. You didn't pick up your trays.
I see.
You have to. People, because of the class of employee you have to constantly remind them, and in a nice way. Don't make it sound like a big deal. You know?
With the buying, I'm just curious about that. What did you learn out of that? Negotiating or what?
Yeah, the thing is, when I first went into it, I didn't realize the meat in America is measured different. Right. They have top rounds, butts, and that. Right. And then often, when I first got there, the chef said, "I need you to order 500 New York steaks every week." So why do you go to New York for steaks? He said, "That's not New York steaks. That's a cut-off steak, New York steak." Right. And there are a lot of things in the American system like that, but their measurements and stuff was very technical.
Because the meat is important, you were saying.
Very important meat.
Yeah, why is that?
That's the prime thing.
The cornerstone of a meal, I guess.
It's the cornerstone of every meal.
Yeah. What was unusual about the American?
In the American system, there are different grades of meat. Yeah. You have the prime rib, right. And you have top choice rib, which is just nearly as good as prime, but a lot cheaper. Right. And then you have choice ribs, right? Also cheaper. Then you have standard. Right. Which is served in hospitals. Right. And it's that
McDonald's burger meat sort of thing.
It's better than that, but it's getting close.
Getting close. Wow.
They're very into standards. The same thing when the chef one day ordered me, "John, I want yellow clean peaches in thin syrup." So what do you mean thin syrup? Syrup in a can. Right. No, it has to be thin. And then I talked to the supplier and I said, "Yeah, we have thin syrup." Thin syrup, you do? Yeah. Wow. And I learned so much in purchasing that I never learned at school. Right. All purchasing, because we had our own laundry, our laundry supplies. We had a gift shop that had beautiful golf clothes. We had a wonderful gift shop. And you learned something that they couldn't teach you at school.
And when do you know when you need to change over your linens?
Well, if it's a hotel, businessman hotel, daily.
Daily, right.
Daily service. A hotel all hotels require daily service.
Daily service.
And we went into the condo business once a week.
Once a week.
Unless they ask to have service 3 times a week.
Unless they ask for it.
Yeah, and then we charge extra.
So it's a lot of linen. It's a lot of linen.
Oh, sure, yeah, but it's nicer to get it linen changed in a week. If you're staying 2 weeks, you need to change it.
So KBM now that sort of grew out of you invested in a condominium yourself. Is that right?
Yeah, Jill, Jackie and me, we each bought one.
Yeah.
And then but now we have 225. We have some of them are worth 2 to 3 million. Some of them are only worth 500,000, 400,000. Yeah. But the variety is great, right? You market it and you show the picture so the guest knows exactly what he's getting. Yeah. That's his room.
Yeah.
And he'll remember that picture when he gets there, make sure it's all there.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? He'll know it had this type of TV and you got this type.
Right.
So you market it there.
Right.
It's but nowadays the internet sells it.
Yes.
The internet sells. You get all the reservations coming out. We have a reservation center in Colombia, South America.
Do you?
Yeah, there's a young lady there. No, she's not so young anymore, but she's young and sharp. She would get up the same time in Colombia, the same time in New York. So she would open our reservation center 7 o'clock in the morning, and because between us and New York, 6 hours difference. And then we have our accounting is done by 2 lovely ladies in Mumbai. Right. It's amazing what you can do.
Yeah, wow.
We just send the information on the internet, or and then we have other sales reservationists, one on the mainland, one on the island.
Yeah,
and that's enough.
Right, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
It's all on computers.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. John, it's been amazing hearing about your incredible world.
It is.
So, yeah, it is. So much to think about. Any final advice or thoughts for travellers, maybe, to book their next hotel? What should they look for when they want to book a quality hotel?
Well, they should actually get pictures of it. It's so important you know what it's going to look like when you get there.
Right.
That would be a big shock if it's not what you expected.
Right.
And then of course you have to live up to it. But usually the pictures are good.
Right.
And you check with the pictures first, and then the location next, and then how big it is. You don't want to go to a 1,000-room hotel because then there's a traffic jam.
Oh, do you? Is that right? What's the right mix?
400, 500, 600 rooms.
Right.
Yeah, which is average.
And where would you, if you had to go and stay in, let's say Maui, where would you stay?
At the Royal Lahaina.
Would you? Yeah. And are you still connected with them? Like
I have lunch there once a week. Jill plays golf down there once a week.
Yeah.
And she played tennis there twice a week.
Beautiful.
And they have 12 tennis courts.
And John, if anyone else is coming up as a younger manager now, being in the position you're in, what would you say? What's maybe 2 things you would say to them?
I'd say if you want to be in the hospitality business, get your mother or father to organise you with a hotel school. You've got good ones in Australia now.
Right.
You've got good ones. My son went all the way from America to the one in Adelaide. It was called the Swiss Hotel School of Adelaide. He thought it was great.
Yeah, what was the second one for the younger manager? So school, good schooling.
You must have a good school, and then you should be prepared to move around a bit and see how other people run their hotels.
Move around a bit,
because every hotel is a different system, and good points. And the more experience you have, the more valuable you are to be hired.
Wow, more experience, the more valuable you are.
To be hired. You command a better salary.
Did the Bahamas entertainment help you with the luau's in?
Everything.
Yeah, it came back to you, sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
John Brunold, the great John Brunold. Thank you so much, everybody. John Brunold, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.